Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths by Jennifer Zeng. Recently, the story of a very high-profile professor of the Central Party School of the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, has attracted a lot of media attention and caused some heated debates among the Chinese community. The name of the professor is Cai Xia. She had been a CCP member for nearly 40 years and a teacher at the highest level CCP school for 15 years, but was expelled from the party on August 17th, with her retirement pensions cancelled. Since then, she has been talking to the international media a lot, calling the CCP a threat to the world and a common enemy of mankind. So what's special about Cai Xia? How should we look at her uprising from within? Is the rebellion of the so-called second generation Red the last straw for the CCP? Today, let's discuss these issues. In June this year, there was suddenly an audio file circulating on social media. The content of the file was very sharp criticism of not only the CCP, but also its head, Xi Jinping.
怎么说呢？如果要讲情况的话，从修宪开始，我们就可以看到这个党事实上已经是一个政治僵尸，尸体的尸，政治僵尸。明摆着那个修宪从党内程序上它就是
The speaker said the CCP had kidnapped 1.4 billion Chinese people and had become a political zombie, and Xi Jinping should be replaced, otherwise he would lead the party to destruction, etc. Although the criticism was indeed very sharp, it was not very surprising, as other people had said the same thing. What surprised people was who the speaker was, and under what kind of circumstances the speech was made. It was said that the speaker was a very high-profile, second-generation Red, and it was said at a secret gathering of the CCP's Red families. What are second-generation Red and Red families? The term Red family refers to a special group of families whose members participated in the founding of the CCP, as well as the CCP's early struggle to drive the previous government of China, the Republic of China, to Taiwan, and then establish its own regime, the People's Republic of China, in mainland China. Second generation Red refers to the second generation of those Red families. Members of these Red families believed that since the CCP's regime was established by them through their family members' lives and blood, so the country and the regime belong to them and their children. Their children and their children's children should inherit their ownership of the country and thus the people, and continue to enjoy their ruling class status for generations to come. So, the Red families always regard themselves as special and different from other ordinary families who are only their slaves, or in Chinese netizens' language, leeks, that they can harvest repeatedly. So why do some people call themselves leeks? Because after the leaves of the leeks are harvested, as long as the roots are still there, they will grow again to be harvested again. So some Chinese people feel that they are just like leeks being harvested repeatedly by the CCP. Because the Red families can decide the fate of the country and therefore the fate of many people in China, and because they are powerful, they can enjoy extravagant lifestyles, many ordinary Chinese people have mixed feelings towards them: admiration, envy, hatred, curiosity, etc. So when important members of Red families say anything or do something, people really pay attention. That's why when the audio file we mentioned earlier was leaked in June, and said to be by Cai Xia, a high-profile Red family member and a professor of the CCP Central Party School. It caused quite a stir. However, there was no way to verify whether the speech was indeed made by Cai Xia, although many people tended to believe it was, judging from the way she talked. Then, on August 17th, a piece of explosive news suddenly appeared, saying that Cai Xia was expelled from the party and that she had admitted that the leaked speech was indeed made by her. It turned out that Cai Xia had been staying in the US and couldn't go back to China since she arrived last year as a tourist because of the coronavirus pandemic. After her speech was leaked in June, the CCP called her more than 10 times and asked her to go back to China to confess her problems to the party, but she declined. On the same day, that is, on August 17th, Cai Xia opened a Twitter account and posted the CCP's decision to expel her from the party, as well as some of her previous articles that criticized the CCP. In just several days, she has attracted tens of thousands of followers on Twitter. Actually, Cai Xia is not the only CCP insider who has rebelled against the party. Around the same time that Cai Xia was expelled from the party, Li Chuanliang, former vice mayor of Jixi City in Heilongjiang province in China, fled China and arrived in the US. In an interview with the Chinese edition of the Epoch Times, he declared that he would like to quit the CCP and called for more people to stand up and speak out. Li Chuanliang said his former supervisor Kong Lingxiang, who was the CCP secretary of Hengshan district of Jixi City, was arrested in February for criticizing the CCP's cover-ups of the COVID pandemic. As Li Chuanliang had made similar remarks before, he was afraid that he would also be persecuted, so he decided to hide and leave China. As the pandemic was still going on, it took him several months to figure out a way to escape, and finally he successfully landed in Los Angeles. Another two high-profile figures who publicly revolted against the CCP and the CCP's system are Chinese real estate tycoon Ren Zhiqiang and a former professor of Tsinghua University, Xu Zhangrun. Ren Zhiqiang was arrested in March this year after he openly denounced Xi Jinping, and Xu Zhangrun was detained for 6 days in July after speaking critically about the CCP's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. He was then fired from his job at Tsinghua University. So what's special about the uprisings of Cai Xia and other former CCP insiders? Because these people are not small guys like others. They were already at the top tier of the CCP's inner circle and were beneficiaries of the CCP system. Even these people, as the last aristocrat, have chosen to abandon the CCP, how long will the party still be able to hold up? So that's why some people think that Cai Xia's uprising has symbolic significance and is an iconic event. One Chinese commentator says that Cai Xia's uprising shows that the CCP can't even convince the elites within its own system. This proves that the CCP can't deceive its own people anymore. There is a famous Chinese saying that one ant-hole can cause the collapse of a 1,000-mile dike. Perhaps Cai Xia is only one of the ant-holes in the CCP's dike. How many more are there? We have no way to know. However, when those numerous ant-holes connect one another, they will become bigger and bigger holes and eventually cause the collapse of the entire dike. You might have not imagined that Cai Xia's appearance had also caused some debates among the overseas Chinese community, especially among people who regard themselves as longtime fighters against the CCP. Why? Because some people thought that Cai Xia is only against Xi Jinping but not against the CCP. She's still talking about democracy within the party, and she wants to save the CCP by replacing Xi Jinping. So they are very critical about Cai Xia. As far as I can see, this may not be the case. Maybe she once thought like that. She once wanted to reform the CCP so it could be changed for the better. Many people in the West once had the same kind of thoughts. However, in her recent interview with CNN, she did express that the relationship between China and the United States is not a conflict between the two peoples, but a context and confrontation between two systems and two ideologies. She also called for sanctions on top Chinese officials and appealed to the international community to join hands in stopping the Communist Party from infiltrating global institutions and spreading Xi's totalitarian ideas. Furthermore, she said that the CCP aims to replace the free and democratic system of modern mankind represented by the United States and the values and order of peace, democracy, freedom, and justice with its own model of governance. From this, we can see she does view the CCP's ideology and system as not compatible with the free world. Cai Xia also said that to replace Xi Jinping has become a consensus within the party, only it is difficult to do so under Xi's iron fist, as even party members have difficulties to organize themselves to do something together. Another question to ask is, can the CCP be saved if Xi Jinping is replaced? Or will the removal of Xi Jinping be a solution for China or for the CCP? My own answer is no. The CCP's history is one of mass killing, lying, and deceiving. The crime it has committed have long since become irredeemable. Changing its leader cannot change its history or crimes. Another very important thing Cai Xia revealed is that when CCP officials report information to their leaders, they often conceal the truth and only report what they would like to hear. The information conveyed upwards is false, and there is no more scientific, democratic, open, and transparent decision-making. Perhaps that is the irony of the CCP's iron fist style of rule, because nobody dares to convey the true information upwards, and party members only dare to say good things that the leaders want to hear. The CCP leaders, including Xi Jinping himself, eventually become blind and deaf, and therefore always make wrong judgments and then make wrong decisions. For Xi Jinping, the biggest mistake he made was that he believed only by preserving the CCP could he keep his power. The reality is just the opposite. It is he who is defending and protecting the CCP, not the other way around. If he had had the courage and wisdom to see through this and had chosen to dismantle the CCP maybe 2 years ago, he might still have had the chance to save himself and to make great contributions to China as well as to the world. However, he mistakenly chose to save the party to preserve his power. As a result, he not only won't be able to save the party, but also has to bear all the crimes committed by the party in history. Would he be able to bear such enormous crime? No, he wouldn't. Will he be able to save the party? No, he definitely won't. What will happen next? Let's wait and see. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends and family, and check out my other videos. Thank you. See you next time.